Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace and blessings upon each and every one here who sees this video. My name is Kenny Bowman. I'm the author of the book, Consider Islam Disproving the Pages of Propaganda. And this is the video series, Reasons to Revert. And I'm blessed to have a brother, Chris Skellorn, joining me today. Assalamu alaikum, brother. I surely appreciate you. Alhamdulillah. I appreciate you taking your time out to be a part of this video series. As we, for the sake of Allah, that we try to use the opportunity to address issues that other people may have in their minds. So let's jump right into it. And let me ask you, where are you originally from? And what was your religion before coming to Islam?
So I am from the United Kingdom, in England, Leeds, in Yorkshire. I was a Christian before I was Muslim.
And so how long have you been Muslim at this point?
I have been Muslim 3.5 years.
3.5 years, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
So let me ask you, what was it about Christianity that made you, that were things that you would question, that, tell me about your experience with Christianity.
So my experience of Christianity was, I was a young kid. I always believed in a creator growing up. I went to a Boys Brigade, which is here in England. It's like a Christian institution, like for kids, like a youth sort of club, but it's Christian organised. I used to go there, and we did a bit of the Bible and stuff like that. But as I was growing up and reading the Bible and then listening to people in the church, it wasn't matching with what I was reading in the Bible.
Yeah.
So that's when I started to ask questions.
Yeah.
No one ever gave me any answers. It was like, just believe in Jesus, just have faith in Jesus. So I kind of
go ahead.
Kept separate. I always separated Jesus and God at that time from each other, even when I was at church. I never believed Jesus was God.
Alhamdulillah. Did you believe that he was the Son of God? Peace and blessings.
Maybe I would have believed that just because that was more the better option for my logical reasoning.
Sure.
But when it come to the Son of God, I would have believed I wouldn't have believed he was just the Son of God, because in the Bible it speaks about many sons of God.
So Sheikh Ahmedida used to say that in the Bible, God has sons by the tons. Alhamdulillah. Matter of fact, Zakir Naik also repeats that. And I noticed that you've taken the Muslim name Isa for Isa alayhi salatu wasalam. For people who don't know, Isa is the name that is referencing Jesus, the son of Mary, in the Bible. I mean, in the Quran, rather. Alhamdulillah. And it's also in the Aramaic language of Hebrew, it would be pronounced Isa. And in the Quran, it's shown as Isa, alayhi salatu wasalam. So, for people that don't know that, you have taken the name Isa, representing
Jesus. Yeah.
The fact that you have a love and an affection for Jesus as a Muslim. Peace and blessings be upon him. Alhamdulillah. So, what was your first experience with Islam, or what's the first thing that you ever heard about Islam, if you can recall?
So I have a bad experience and good experience. So my bad experience started as young as maybe 13 years old, when I lived in a community with the Pakistani Muslims. I experienced many bad bullying and many bad problems with the Pakistani community in that area. So I seen Islam as a Pakistani religion. I thought the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, peace and blessings be upon him, was a Pakistani. So yeah, I had a bad experience with Islam and stuff like that. So that was my bad experience. So it led me to joining a far right group here in the UK, which are called the English Defence League.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Yeah, so that was my bad experience. Learning about coming away from the far right and stuff, and learning the real truth about Islam.
Alhamdulillah.
I went through a lot of bad problems, and I found a video on my Facebook talking about Jesus, Isa as-salam, but it was obviously it was in English, so he said Jesus.
Yeah.
And I was trying to go back to the church at this time, trying to get back to see if I could get more faith, because I always believed in a creator. And then, but this video said something different to what I've been. It says what I would have believed if someone told me at that time. But I mean, it said something different. It said that Jesus was the prophet of God. And I didn't know what this video was. I didn't know what religion it was. I just thought it must be a different sect of Christianity. You know, so I kept watching these videos, and it turned out to be Merciful Servant.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. And for 2 months I watched nearly all the videos, and I didn't even know that it was Islam.
Alhamdulillah. That's beautiful. So at what point did you realize it was Islam?
Well, after watching them and starting to ask questions, I asked the taxi driver who was bringing me home from my friend's house. I said to him, do you know a religion that believe Jesus is a prophet of God and not God? And he said Islam straight away.
Alhamdulillah.
So straight away I called him a terrorist.
Oh, you called the taxi driver a terrorist?
Yeah, I said, nah, Muslims are terrorists.
Oh.
And he just looked at me with a smile, put his hand on my shoulder and said, keep watching them videos. So because of that smile, I walked out of the car thinking, what he just smiled at me, I called him a terrorist. So then I come away and I thought, nah, I'd never be a Muslim. Never be a Muslim. And I kind of rejected the videos, and I rejected looking at them anymore. And then I think it was 1.5 months later, I came back to the videos after rejecting.
What made you come back to the videos, just out of curiosity? Was there something going on in your life where you felt we call it in Islam, we call it fitra, where you have a natural inclination to reach out to someone or something greater than ourselves? So was there something going on that led you to go back to the videos? What brought that about?
So I couldn't stop thinking about the videos that I watched. Like one of the videos really echoed with me was the Jesus one, because I always believed in Jesus. I never believed he was a God or God, and I never believed that he was a white man with long hair and a beard. I never believed that.
Yes.
But I mean, it was just that video. I've just thought to myself, I've watched all them videos. And I agreed with. There's not one thing I didn't really agree with in them videos. So it took me 1.5 months thinking about whether I should watch him again.
You know, as you're talking, I'm thinking about the taxi driver. May Allah bless him and give him the highest levels of heaven. For him to respond with just a smile, it reminds me of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the hadith saying, to share your smile, that your smile is a form of charity. And so in Islam, we know, as Muslims, we know what the truth is, that the Quran says to fight those who fight you, run them out of where they've run you out. So in Islam, we're never to be the oppressor or to transgress the limits. Alhamdulillah. So, and to be patient in all things. Everything's a test in this life. So for this brother, it makes me feel, I feel love for this brother, even though I've never laid eyes on him. But hearing that and the influence of that single smile that led you to it could have went one way or the other. He could have responded and you were like, that was it. You've had enough with the Muslims. But alhamdulillah, he smiled at you, and it's something we all need to learn from, especially when we become. When we're out in the world and people recognize us as being Muslim, man, we should carry ourselves in the best of manners at all times. smile, be friendly, be courteous, be helpful, and that's Islam. Alhamdulillah. Not the stuff that people are going to be people. People are going to fall short. People are going to make mistakes. So the Muslims that you experience in Pakistan, the Pakistani rather, Islam is perfect. People aren't perfect. So alhamdulillah, luckily I say luckily, I don't like using the word luck, alhamdulillah. By the mercy and the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you had it within your heart and your mind and your spirit to be open to the fact that, you know what, I can't judge Islam based on what these people are doing. That's illogical, right? And it's a combination of all these things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala kept guiding you to the straight path of Allah. So
I think it's emotions that drive people away from their actual belief.
Yeah, and on the flip side of that, it drives them also to belief in regards to Christianity per se. People, unlike Islam, where we're going to prayer 5 times a day, we're able to deal with all of our issues that we experience day in, day out by going to the prayer each and every day, repeatedly. Always be conscious of Allah. Whereas in Christianity, things pile up on people's shoulders. And I'm not saying that Christians don't pray during the week. And often, everyone does something different. But overall, people allow things to build up on them throughout the course of their lives, even throughout the course of the week. And then they have an emotional experience on Sunday morning, and they feel like Jesus, peace and blessings be upon him, touched them. And so there's a difference there. Alhamdulillah, we experience these things 5 times each and every day as we go to prayer. Alhamdulillah. So, I noticed, alhamdulillah, that you recently went to Mecca. So tell me a little bit about that. I absolutely loved watching seeing the photos that you were posting, the ones in the airplane and just up everywhere. Alhamdulillah, you look like you had a great time.
Yeah, so by the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we was invited over to the holy place of Mecca, Medina. Alhamdulillah. When I went, I didn't know what to expect.
Yeah.
Obviously, with far right tendencies, and my mum worrying, and you think Saudi Arabia is a barbaric institution.
Sure.
So I went and it's changed my life. Alhamdulillah, it's a big change.
Go ahead.
The stuff that you see, the tranquility and the togetherness and the peace in the Prophet ﷺ's mosque, it's just you just can't explain the feeling that you get when you're in that state, because and the people that I went with as well, the brothers that I went with, every single one of them was fantastic.
Yeah.
We had brothers who was good with emotions, and good with little talks, and so we got the best of both worlds when we were there. Started in Medina, alhamdulillah. The most biggest part for me was the Roda, the paradise on earth. It touches you in places that you never thought you had spiritually. Going to the Prophet ﷺ's grave as well, and people always mention, what did you feel like when you seen the Kaaba? But it was more for when I went into Roda for me. I was excited when I seen the Kaaba because of what it stands for. But the Roda, that's where I got my tranquility and peace, and just in the Prophet's mosque and being around people, so alhamdulillah, it was a very good experience, and I would advise anybody who gets the opportunity or chance or gets invited by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is to take that invite, because and no more misconceptions for myself.
Alhamdulillah. That's going from a right wing state of mind to Islam. It's such a huge transition. Alhamdulillah. And this is a prime opportunity. That's why I wanted to do this video series, because I want to represent and show that there's Muslims of all different nationalities, economic situations, titles, conditions, situations, but you know, we all led to the truth and the beauty of Islam through different methods, all by the wisdom of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know, and the togetherness that you mentioned, you know, the fact that we, you know, standing up in prayer, and you may have someone from China on one side of you, Russia, Germany, France. There's Muslims from everywhere, and it reminds me of when I read the autobiography of Malcolm X, where he went from an extremist view, where he was part of the Nation of Islam, the Black Muslims, and of course the Black Muslims. It's a long story. That's actually how I was introduced to Islam, through the Nation of Islam and some brothers that I was interacting with. But once he went on the journey, he went to Mecca, and he says in the book that he was sitting and eating with blonde-haired and blue-eyed Muslims, and he felt these were his brothers. Alhamdulillah.
I've got this book on my bookshelf.
Do you really? Yeah.
I've read like the first paragraph.
A number of years back, but Alhamdulillah, I recommend anyone to read that book, because it shows and demonstrates how someone can go from a militant, from one way of thinking to another way, based on just being exposed to the truth and the beauty of Islam. You know, and so I Alhamdulillah, it's beautiful. You know, let me ask you this: Did you meet John Fontaine on your trip?
No, but I know John Fontaine.
You know John Fontaine? Have you met him before in person?
Yes, I know him. Yeah.
Alhamdulillah. I bring this up because obviously you're a redhead. It's common to be termed a ginger nowadays, as I'm probably older than you. Obviously, I'm a redhead as well, but you don't see much red in mine.
Yeah, there is a little thing going around. Why are all reverts ginger?
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to bring up, because I went on an atheist Islamophobic program. I've been on there a few times. The very first time that I went on there, they asked me if I was ginger. You know, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm a redhead. And what's the point? Why are you asking me?
About ginger in Islam?
Yeah.
But majority of the time when I'm with reverts, the blackbeards outnumber the gingers.
Absolutely.
So what people are doing is they're just spotting two gingers and they're going, "Why are all Muslims ginger?" You know?
Yeah, yeah.
Spot the gingerness.
You know, it's silly, but you know what it represents to me is here you are. You know, you're from the UK. I'm from Texas. And, you know, I'm right here in Houston, and Alhamdulillah, we are on the same straight path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it doesn't matter if you know what the person's race or nationality is. That's the truth and the beauty of Islam, that we come together. And it's not like, and I bring this up because I'm not sure what Christian churches are like there in the UK, but here in the United States, you can tell if the church is a black church or a white church or Hispanic church by the makeup of the people that go to those churches, the congregations themselves. Whereas in Islam, what I truly appreciate and enjoy is that the mixture of all different types of people. And I imagine in my mind repeatedly, I think about this when we're lined up in prayer, that on the day of judgment, that's what it's going to look like. We're going to be lined up before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, all races, all people, you know, come together, and we're going to face judgment on that day. We're going to be gathered amongst those whom we used to emulate in this life. And alhamdulillah, inshallah, we're part of the true believers on that day.
Inshallah.
Inshallah. So, brother, I truly appreciate you coming on. You know, it's been a great honor. I've been checking you out for a number of months at this point, and
I'm looking forward to reading your book.
Inshallah. It'll be out June 1st. It'll be on Amazon and all those.
Yeah, I'll make sure we'll put it on our page, and we'll make sure people read it, inshallah, because it'll be a good read.
Inshallah. Yeah, I'm actually addressing those propaganda that's used against Islam, as it's been used with groups before Muslims, where with the Jews during the Holocaust, also Japanese Americans during World War II, where Japanese Americans were targeted here in the United States and looked at it as though they were villains when they had nothing to do with the attacks in Pearl Harbor, but they were categorized and they were targeted. And we see the same things happening now in the United States with the wall and the immigrants, people trying to come in from Mexico, and they're labeled as though they're animals and they're gang members and they're all these things. And it's a repeated propaganda that we see utilized against certain groups of people, and that's what the book is addressing. And it goes into detail. Matter of fact, I got a number of quotes, I think 2 or 3 quotes from Malcolm X in regards to dealing with the media, in particular in the book. So, brother, I appreciate you coming on today. It's been a great honor, and I look forward to interacting with you more.
Jazakallah khairan for having me on today. Alhamdulillah.
Yeah, alhamdulillah.
I look forward to seeing more Revert.
Go ahead.
I look forward to seeing more stories.
Inshallah. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept our efforts to expose the truth and the beauty of Islam and break down misconceptions, and be honest enough and be courageous enough to say, you know what, I used to think with a right-wing mentality, and alhamdulillah, I found the truth and the beauty of Islam. Some people wouldn't come on and say such a thing. So I commend you for that, for taking the time out to tell your story. It's a great blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So pick up the book. Consider Islam Disproving the Patriots of Propaganda. Please like, subscribe, and share this video. And I'll leave everyone by saying Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Assalamu alaikum, brother.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.